I've just bought a Ribcraft 585 over the phone without even seeing a single picture of it. Sounds crazy, right? But it gets worse. The engine is supposedly beyond economical repair and it doesn't even come with a trailer. And it's stranded on the Isle of Wight. So today, we're headed to Cowes to find out exactly what I've bought. Have I found an incredible bargain or made a very expensive mistake? Over the years, the Ribcraft 585 has been my weapon of choice. I've owned several of them and they've taken me on some unforgettable adventures. I've crossed the English Channel, travelled to the Isles of Scilly, and even found myself in the middle of a dolphin superpod. So when the opportunity came up to buy another, I knew I had to go for it. The only problem is, I've never even seen a picture of it. So the adventure begins here in Royal Wootton Bassett, at my workshop. To collect this boat by road, you first need a suitable trailer, drive all the way down the M4 and A34 to Southampton, catch a ferry to the Isle of Wight, and then somehow make our way from east to west Cowes. The problem is that the Cowes chain ferry doesn't really work for us while towing a trailer, and even if it did, it has a reputation for breaking down. That would mean driving all the way up to Newport and heading back across the island to West Cowes. Even with a discount code, the ferry for a car and trailer cost over £200 return. For a boat project, this doesn't make financial sense. So instead, I've opted for a day on the water, and I've come up with another plan. We'll launch my Redbay diesel from the Southampton dry stack and then head down the River Itchen towards Southampton Water. From there, we'll travel up Southampton Water, round Cowshot Spit, past Bramble Bank and make our way into Cowes. We'll then tow the Ribcraft back across the Solent by sea and recover both boats at the dry stack. It's certainly not the easiest way to collect a boat, but it might be the most interesting. We have an early start because we're racing against the outgoing tide. The plan only works if we get across to Cowes and collect the boat before we run out of water. But before we can leave, there's one important job to do.
Southampton Dry Stack, Alex speaking.
Hi Alex, it's Alex.
Hey Alex, how's it going?
Yeah, not bad buddy. Is it possible for you to launch my boat this morning?
Yeah, what time are you down, Alex?
About an hour and a quarter.
Yeah, no problem at all. We'll have you in, buddy.
What boat did you just buy?
I just bought a Ribcraft 585. It's got 4 jockey seats, so it's the layout I wanted.
What colour is it?
It's a white hull and it's got blue tubes and I think blue upholstery. The journey was going well. We spent most of the drive talking about boats, ribs and the project ahead. But as we got closer to Southampton, things came to a complete stop. We arrived at Southampton dry stack almost an hour behind schedule, after getting caught in roadworks and heavy traffic on the way down. Thankfully, the team jumped straight into action. My Redbay is already on the water waiting for us, but there's no time to waste. While I reverse the trailer into position, the clock is still ticking. We've lost already an hour, and the tide won't wait for anyone. We're now about an hour behind schedule and the tide is dropping fast. Fortunately, there's enough water for us to cut the corner. Once clear of the 6 knot zone, it's time to open up the throttle and make a run for Cowes.
Ready!
Walking in a daze and I'm feeling I'm drawing out my mind. Don't know what we're doing, but let's try this thing out one more time. I don't really care about these people and what they say about us. Your friends still don't like me, but to me they acting kinda sus. Get out what you put in, put your soul up. Being on the other end of these phone calls, sick of all the arguing and tripping over pettiness. If I could get a little bit of distance from the situation, don't know how to handle this one. I know I said things that I can't take back. I know you know that I did not mean that. Sit down, stop crying, you know that the people be lying. Please baby give it some time, reset. Walking in a daze and I'm feeling I'm drawing out my mind. I don't wanna leave you, but right now girl it's about that time. I know that I'm tripping, but right now I need go on my own. Promise me that you gon' be there when I come back home. Ooh, I come back home. Promise me that you gon' be there when I come back home. Ooh, I come back home. Promise me that you gon' be there when I come back home. Ride around town with a new thing. First impressions really start to feel like they can routine, She don't judge me, I'm my old whip. Did you lie on? I ain't finna break this budget, Dinner and a movie and a long walk. To be honest, I'm just really sick of all the small talk, Sick of you pretending like you know me. Only reason that we're hanging out is cause I'm lonely, If love is patient, why is it that I just wanna rush things? Why I wanna touch things, tugging on them heartstrings. Love is trying to lie to you and tell you that I'm not like all them other guys. Ex-girl probably tell you otherwise. Love doesn't boast, it's not proud, but my pride will tell me that I need someone that's better looking than these other girls. 10 out of 10, when does it end? When does shallow begin? Wonder what always trust appearance is not looking within, Walking in a daze and I'm feeling I'm drawing out my mind. I don't wanna leave you, but right now girl it's about that time. I know that I'm tripping, but right now I need go on my own. Promise me that you gon' be there when I come back home. Ooh, I come back home. Promise me that you gon' be there when I come back home. Ooh, I come back home. Promise me that you gon' be there when I come back home.
Before we can collect the Ribcraft, there's just one more stop to make. Towing a boat across the Solent can be thirsty work, and while we should have enough fuel to get home, it's better to be safe than sorry. By now we are running about an hour and a half behind schedule, but that's far from ideal. And I'm fairly certain Stuart will have a few words to say about that when we finally get there. This is Insignia Maritime, where Stuart has been storing the Ribcraft for me. Using his crane, Stuart will swing the Ribcraft around and lower it into the water alongside us. Once it's floating, I'll secure a bow line to my front cleat, tie the two A-frames together, and then run a spring line from the Ribcraft's A-frame to my forward console. With everything secured, the crane slings can come off. Now comes the tricky part. With the wheel hard over to port, I'll carefully match the engine against the tide. The aim is to hold position while slowly building enough momentum to move us forward. Once edging ahead, Stuart will release the stern line. A few moments later, he'll let go of the bow line as well. The pressure of the tide between the boats and the wall should help push us clear. If everything goes to plan, we'll be able to pivot on the spot into deeper water, avoiding both posts ahead of us and the chain ferry just behind. The chain ferry is another hazard we need to think about. While it's underway, the chains in front of the ferry are pulled tight, just beneath the surface, but behind the ferry, the chains become slack and sink to the bottom. As long as we can stay at least 10 metres behind it, we can pass safely. Simple enough in theory. Everything will be okay as long as we don't hear the shallow water alarm.
shallow water along.
We're about an hour and a half behind, please.
And Stuart's right. We only have inches beneath the skeg now, and water's disappearing fast. We've just got minutes to get off this wall. If we miss the tide, we'll be here all night. And here she is, my first look at the Ribcraft 585. The tubes are already causing me a bit of concern, but there's no time to stop and investigate.